You're listening to CFRN, the Christian Financial Radio Network.
Good afternoon, traders, and welcome back to the CFRN E-Mini Futures Cast. This is the daily broadcast of Indeterminate Length, where we discuss all things E-Mini, along with some really big ideas on the finer points of trading gold, bonds, crude, sugar, the euro. Joining us today, Mr. Michael Borg. From our trading desk in Chicago, Mr. Burton Schlichter. Now, to get things started, let's go to our host and founder in Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. Here's Dwayne.
Good afternoon, welcome back. Today is Monday, 19th day of December, 2022. Thanks so much for joining us. Whoever you are, wherever you are, we're just glad to have you right here, right now. We actually do 2 live broadcasts every trading day. The first live broadcast is from 9:30 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. Eastern. Now that's our live training room, and it is reserved for members only and those who are taking their 1-week free trial. If you've not taken your 1-week free trial, in a few minutes Michael will come on and he'll show you exactly how to do it. No credit card required, and for 5 consecutive trading days you'll be treated just like a lifetime member. You'll have access to all the resources, the indicators, the alerts, everything. We invest our time and treasure in you so that you can make a well-informed and intelligent decision if what we do is right for you. And that's when you decide to make an investment in yourself, in your trading future. Now, at 11:30 we take a break, and then we come back for this broadcast, the afternoon broadcast at 12 noon Eastern. There's 2 ways to join the afternoon broadcast because it's open to the public. Everybody, everywhere on planet Earth with an internet-connected device. Telephone, tablet, PC, Mac. We're not picky. Now, the best way to join I'll give you first, and it's the best way because it gives you access to the question box so that you can ask questions and participate in the discussion. In order to join that way, go to mytradingiq.com. You only have to do it once. Scroll down to where it says afternoon broadcast. Click the link, complete the 30-second registration form, and then every trading day going forward, you'll get an email right before the afternoon broadcast starts. And all you've got to do is click the link in the email, and that will automatically log you into our platform and give you access to the question box. The other way to join the afternoon broadcast is to simply point your browser to our YouTube channel. That's youtube.com/CFRN. Simple to remember. youtube.com/CFRN. Now, not only do we broadcast live every trading day on our YouTube channel, but we also archive every daily broadcast. Currently, there's over 2,100 daily live broadcasts archived for your educational and viewing pleasure. And it's a really great way for a newcomer to get to know who we are, what we do, how we do it, even why we do it. And you can scroll back 6 weeks, 6 months, a year, a couple years, even more. And what I don't expect you, of course, to watch every episode. I just want you to pick days at random. And what you'll find is a thread of connectivity, a thread of continuity woven through each and every broadcast. I'm doing the recap of the alerts the same way today that I was doing them many years ago. If it's not broke, I'll leave it alone. A wise man once said that. We will open with a word of prayer, as we do each and every day. We finished our topic last week, and so our new topic is 5 life lessons from the book of Ecclesiastes. Today's scripture is Ecclesiastes chapter 1, verses 1 and 2. I'll be reading from the Message translation. These are the words of the quester, David's son and king in Jerusalem. Smoke, nothing but smoke. That's what the quester says. There's nothing to anything. It's all smoke. What's there to show for a lifetime of work? A lifetime of working your fingers to the bone. One generation goes its way, the next one arrives, but nothing changes. It's business as usual for old planet Earth. The sun comes up and the sun goes down, then does it again and again, the same old round. The wind blows south, the wind blows north, around and around and around it blows, blowing this way then that, the whirling erratic wind. All the rivers flow into the sea, but the sea never fills up. The rivers keep flowing to the same old place and then start all over and do it again. Everything's boring, utterly boring. No one can find any meaning in it. Boring to the eye, boring to the ear. What was will be again. What happened will happen again. There's nothing new on this earth. Year after year, it's the same old thing. Does someone call out, "Hey, this is new"? Don't get excited. It's the same old story. Nobody remembers what happened yesterday and the things that will happen tomorrow. Nobody will remember them either. Don't count on being remembered. Now, you might say, gee, that's not a real encouraging verse. But again, our topic this week is finding meaning for life from the book of Ecclesiastes. Many people are searching for someone or something to bring fulfillment and satisfaction to their lives. Perhaps you're one of them, or you know someone who is. If I only had this job, this person, this bank account, this car, house, this life, relationship, then I would be happy. Of course, you could fill in the blanks endlessly. Does this sound familiar? Searching for things such as pleasure, success, wealth, status, happiness, power, or fame often end as vain pursuits, leading us to feel unhappy, empty, and unsatisfied. It reminds me of a song by the Rolling Stones called "I Can't Get No Satisfaction." In it, Mick Jagger sings, "I can't get no satisfaction, I can't get no satisfaction, 'cause I try and I try and I try and I try. I can't get no, I can't get no." Similarly, King Solomon, the supposed author of Ecclesiastes, searches for sense and meaning in life without finding satisfaction. Looking back on his life, Solomon found everything to be meaningless. Ecclesiastes 1:14, "I have seen all the things that are done under the sun," he said. "All of them are meaningless. a chasing after the wind. So where, how, and in whom can we find satisfaction and meaning in life? Is there a cure for emptiness? I'll give you a hint. The only source of true fulfillment is the constant pursuit of seeking God first with all our heart and centering our life on Him. His love will fill our emptiness. Then as we grow in our Christian walk and faith, serving Him and others, that's where we will find true contentment, true satisfaction, peace, joy, and everlasting life come from God alone. Searching for happiness in the things of this world is like chasing after the wind. Are you ready to stop searching and find true satisfaction from God and His Word? So that's what we're going to be talking about this week. Join me in a word of prayer. Heavenly Father, thank you for your many blessings, for your mercy, and for your grace. Thank you that you and you alone know the end from the beginning, and that everything under heaven is within your authority. Thank you that you are in control of all that is happening in my own individual life and the wider world in general. May I trust you through all the circumstances of life, and as I seek your face in prayer and praise, may I learn more and more to pray, Thy will be done in my life and throughout the world. It's in Jesus' name we believe and pray. And everybody said, Amen. All right, let me give you the numbers from around the world. Again, for investors, they're not pretty, but for traders, they're pretty awesome. Because we trade futures primarily, and futures trade around the clock, and there's no uptick rules of any kind. We can be long, short, long again, all in the same hour if that's what the chart in front of us dictates. And we all know that markets tend to drop faster than they rise because it takes financial commitment for price to rise. All it takes for price to drop is for buyers to simply stop buying, if only for a bit. Starting here in the U.S. with the cash markets, or the indices as they're called, the Dow's down 37 points. The NASDAQ is down 121 points. Now that's over 1%. The S&P 500 is down 18. And the Russell 2000, our man in the street, down 17, which is exactly 1%. In the commodity basket, crude oil up $1.51, trading 75.80 last. That is a gain of over 2%. Gold down $2.70, trading 17.9760 last. Silver down 13 cents, trading 23.19 last. In the Asian markets at the close, Nikkei down 289 points, over 1%. Shanghai down 60 points, almost 2%. The Hang Seng down 97. And in the European markets at the close, FTSE up 29, the DAX up 49, the CAC up 20. So that gives us a red day in Asia, but a green day for the UK. And so far, it's a big red Radio Monday here in the US of A. So with that, we'll go to Michael if he's ready and get a recap of everything that happened in the live training room this morning, as we do every day. And then I'll come back and we'll take a look at the larger time frames. We'll cover the Logic 247 alerts, the concierge trade alerts, all that and more when I return. But at any point during the broadcast, if you have a question, all you got to do is type it in the question box. We'll be happy to answer it for you. Michael, I can see your charts, so take it away.
Okay, here we go. Good afternoon, everyone. Happy Monday. Today is the 19th day of December, 2022. All right, so if you have not taken a free trial with us, go here to mytradingiq.com. All right, on this page, hang on, hold it just a second. Okay, on this page, click right here. It says sign up for your free 5-day training now, 9:30 to 11:30 Eastern time. That is every business day, 9:30 to 11:30 Eastern time. You can sign up for it here too if you want. There, or down here. Anyway you sign up for it, it's going to bring you to this page. All right. We just asked for a few things on this page, and once you fill it out, you will be sent all the information that you need to get into the training room in the morning. Okay. All right. That said, let's get to the spreadsheet. Now, if you're going to read the spreadsheet, you got to read all the CFTC risk disclosures down at the bottom. Today is the 19th day of December, 2022. Made 18 ticks in crude, 10 ticks in gold, and 33 ticks on the ES this morning. That put us at 692.50 on the morning session. Today it took 26 minutes and 5 trades to get to the goal for the day. At that point, we're up $100 a contract, and we took a total of 16 trades. So on the month now, we're at $10,152. That's over 13 trading days, averaging $780 per contract per 2-hour trading day. So on the year now, we've gotten our goal every day so far, 239 days. We only have a few more days left this year to finish off the whole year. It'll be our first time ever doing the whole year, getting the goal. I'm knocking on wood right now because who knows what the market's going to bring here over the next week and a half. I don't think it'll be anything too surprising, but anyway, we're going to keep doing what we always do. So on the year now, we've gone 300 consecutive business days since our last negative day in the room. And we've gotten our, and that puts us at $235,498 on the year. Okay. That is over 239 business days, averaging $985 per contract per 2-hour business day. And right in here, if you were to quit trading when you get your goal for the day and you were to add 1 contract per month, you would have only had to work 41.85 hours so far this year, and you would have averaged $4,819 per hour. Okay. That's $4,819 per hour on the year. All right, let's get into the trades. Now, we didn't have a whole lot going on here on gold. This is pretty much it, the whole thing right here. You can see the whole day right here. This is 9:30 to right now. We had 1 trade right here we took a break even on. We had a trade here that we missed, and a trade right here that we picked up 10 ticks on. That was all we had for gold this morning. And since then, there's been nothing new. All right. There's 1 trade right here that you could have taken right now. It'd be a little bit out of context. You could have taken it from down here. Be a little bit out of context. You would have had just stopped at break even, and it would have been a break even at this point. Okay. That is gold. Now the crude oil. Let's go back to the beginning here. All right. Our first trade on crude was right here. Let me slide this over here so we can see a little better. Picked up 3 ticks on the first one. 2 ticks on the second one to get us to +5, and a break even there, a break even there, 1 tick there to get us to +6, a break even there, a break even there. Looks like I don't know, somewhere in here we picked up 10 ticks. Right here we picked up 10 ticks to get us to +16, and then right there we got 2 more ticks to get us to +18. And that is where we ended it for the morning session. Now, right at the end of the session this morning, it started a run right here. It didn't give us another trade setup until right over here. It did give another trade setup. And in here, I did pick up something else in here. I picked up quite a bit in there, but I didn't count it toward the totals. After that, the slingshot got all messed up to be going long in here. The context was still up for everybody that was watching that. It was still up, and we just did not get another trade setup that fit the context on the way up there. And there was one blue off of blue right here. That's the only one you could have taken right there, was that blue off of blue that fit the context. Okay, there was a red off of red right in here that was out of context. When I say out of context, I mean in the short-term trend that it was in. Okay. The ES. Now down here on the ES, you see I have all these bars down here popping up. What the yellow bars indicate is that it's likely to pull back down and test the BBC. When you see yellow bar, it's likely to pull back to the BBC. Okay, whenever you see one of those. So you want to be careful about getting into a trade when you have a yellow bar, because they're usually going to pull back and test the BBC. Now, that said, right here was our first trade. We ended up with a break even, then another break even, and then we got +4 right there. The next trade we had was all the way over here, and on this one, we ended up picking up 9 ticks to put us to +13. Then the one right after it, we picked up, I think, 12 ticks to get us to +25. And then the one after that, 4 more ticks to get us to +29. And the one after that, 4 more ticks to get us to 33. And that is where we ended it on the morning session for the ES. There was one more trade in here that I missed. And then you get into the break. Now in here, the context is still down, right? Up, down, up, down, down, up. Here's a trade right in here. Like there was one there and one there you could have taken. Then it tried to change directions on us in here, and it really didn't happen. That was it on the ES, guys. We really didn't end up with anything else that you could do in there. If we jump back over here for a minute, you will see right in here. If you're going to read the spreadsheet, you got to read all the CFTC risk disclosures down at the bottom. Today's the 19th day of December, 2022. We made 18 ticks in crude, 10 ticks in gold, and 33 ticks on the ES. That put us at 692.5 on the morning session. And today took 26 minutes and 5 trades to get to the goal for the day. At that point, we're up $100 a contract, and we took a total of 16 trades this morning. So on the month now, we're up $10,152. That's over 13 trading days, averaging $780 per contract per 2-hour business day. So on the year now, we've gotten our goal in 239 out of 239 days, and we've gone 300 consecutive business days since our last negative day in the room. That puts us on the year at $235,498. It's over 239 business days, averaging $985 per contract per 2-hour business day. In here, if you were to quit trading when you get your goal for the day, and you were to add 1 contract per month, you now would have only had to work 41.85 hours so far this year, and you would have averaged $4,819 per hour on the year. Okay. Now, if you have not taken a free trial with us, go here to mytradingiq.com and click on this right here. It says sign up for your free 5-day training and trading right now, 9:30 to 11:30 Eastern time. If you are going to do that, you should download the trading platform. Right, go in here and download the trading platform. If you don't have one, I use DT Pro. Download that one. Follow the instructions. Okay. If you have TradingView, it's really easy to get you set up on TradingView. Just let us know. If you have NinjaTrader, just follow the instructions. It's a really easy install for Ninja too. With Ninja, you're going to have to give us your machine ID. All right, you're going to have to go to the Help and About menu, 5th line down, send us your machine ID so we can set you up with that. But once you get your trading platform set up, then look at the trade rules. These are the rules that we follow in the room every morning, over and over and over again, the same exact rules. Okay. Watch these videos. These videos are me doing the rules in the morning. Where does this go? Okay. I was curious where that went. That's good. All right. All right. So that's how you get everything with us. All right. All right. With that, I can pass it back out to Fabulous Springs, Arizona, in Studio A, overlooking South Mountain, America's largest city park. Dwayne, if you are ready.
Yes, I am ready.
Good.
So what Michael was saying about the same thing over and over every day, that may sound boring to you, but let me ask you a question. The last time you blew up an account, how boring was that? It wasn't.
Yes.
You got a huge adrenaline rush when that happened. And so, whether, now some people might be thinking, if you're new, well, gee, today was a down day. How are you going to trade tomorrow if it's an up day? Exactly the same. What if it's a low volume day or a high volume day or there's economic reports coming out? How are you going to trade the market then? Exactly the same. Whether it's futures, individual stocks, cryptocurrencies, forex pairs, same indicators, same strategy, same underlying principles. So, let me ask the question. Recap of the recap.
Today, it took 26 minutes and 5 trades to get to $100 per contract.
Good job.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now, notice he said per contract. When
Yes.
you become a member, you receive what's called the 24/20 blueprint. And that walks you through the process of getting ready to start trading live money. You might say, well, I've been trading for years. Okay, well, if you were consistently, profitably trading for many years, you probably wouldn't even be tuned in and listening to this. So, the key to consistency is not changing your stance every time you step up to the plate, but learning a definable edge and then applying that edge when opportunity presents itself. And everything is very, very clearly defined. So, for those of you that are new, maybe you're a stock trader, maybe you're a crypto trader, maybe you're a forex guy. We built our house on futures because they trade around the clock from Sunday night at 6 p.m. Eastern till Friday afternoon at 5 p.m. Eastern with a 1-hour break each day. Right now it's the Monday session. The Monday session started last night, Sunday night at 6 p.m. Eastern here in the U.S. And the Monday session will end today at 5 p.m. Eastern. And then the Tuesday session will start tonight at 6 p.m. Eastern, even though it's still Monday night in the U.S. So, again, Michael, great day. And that blueprint that I started talking about, once you qualify to go live, okay, just lost audio. Well, tell you what, since you guys are both logged in, let me try this first. Did the audio come back? Did the audio come back? Okay, I'm going to log out then and log back in because apparently the issue is not on my end. It's on the go-to end. So stand by and I'll be right. Oh, Hal, okay. Thank you so much, Hal. So, can everybody hear me now? All right, I'm going to log out, log back in. Can you hear me now?
There we go. Now we can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, I got to get one of these go-to texts to log in because when you guys lose audio through the GoTo platform, it's still streaming fine on the YouTube channel. So the issue is in the GoTo, and I just got to get one of their guys to log in and fix it.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, here's where we were. I was telling you about the 24/20 blueprint. Okay, it's going to get you ready to go live, start trading real money. First, you're going to put together 10 consecutive days in a row where you reach your goal in 10 trades or less. Once you accomplish that, the blueprint will give you the green light to go live with one contract. Now, because now you've proven to yourself that you actually understand the methodology and the strategy. Okay, so now it's appropriate to put real money to work. So you go live with one contract, and you'll trade that one contract until you increase your account balance by $2,000. Once you do that, the blueprint will give you the green light to add a second contract. Now, the big difference between the first and second contract is the first contract is funded with your startup capital, but the second contract is funded with profit you earned in the market. The blueprint will notify you when it's time to add number 3, number 4, number 5, number 10, but you're only adding one at a time when it's time, and you only add with profit you earned in the market. If you have the self-discipline to follow that blueprint, then that will make it much more difficult to blow up another account. In fact, you'll have to break a lot of rules in order to do that. Now, 2 points in the S&P is $100. 10 ticks in crude, 10 ticks in gold, $100. Most people say, yeah, I can't pay my bills on $100, right? But as you add contracts, once you hit contract number 5, that's $500 a day. That's just a function of math. And so if you can become consistent at taking 2 points a day out of the S&P, or 20 points out of the Dow, 10 ticks out of crude, or 10 ticks out of gold, all of those add up to $100 per contract. So once you hit contract number 5, that's $500 a day, that's $2,500 a week. For most people, that's enough to cover your bills and even put a little something away. Now, you don't have to stop at 5. The 24/20 blueprint is designed to take you from 1 to 20 contracts over a period of 24 months. So if you get comfortable at 5, you should never feel compelled to add additional contracts. If adding another contract makes you uncomfortable, stay where you're at a little longer until you do feel comfortable adding additional contract. And then by the time you hit 10 contracts, that's $1,000 a day with just 2 points out of the S&P. And even if it takes you 10 trades to grab those 2 points, you're still positive after commissions. Now, obviously, you're not as profitable as the guy who got it in 1 trade or 2 trades. And if it takes you 10 trades every day to get 2 points, then you're going to book a lot of one-on-one mentoring sessions so we can fix that. Now, not only do we teach you the methodology and the strategy and how to read the indicators in the live training room, we also give you trades around the clock from Sunday night at 6 p.m. Eastern until Friday afternoon at 5 p.m. Eastern when the global markets close. We're currently in week 229 of Logic 247. That's our 24/7 around the clock Emini alert service, which also includes crude, gold, silver, the euro, and bonds. An alert could come out at 2 a.m. or 2 p.m. It's based on whenever opportunity presents itself. Remember, futures trade around the clock, and we have traders around the globe. Now, since the inception of Logic 247, we've now issued over 12,900 individual handcrafted alerts. Entry, initial target, which is designed to help you get your goal for the day, and in many cases a second, a third, a fourth, and then a final trade to target. On a long alert, the final trade to target will always be the weekly zone above, and on a short, it will always be the weekly zone below. So since the markets opened last night, we've issued a total of 20 alerts. Still waiting on the outcome of 4. So we've had 16 actionable alerts, of which 1 or 6% would have been stopped out based on not risking more than $300 per contract per trade based on market structure and a very simple 3-step process that we teach all of our passport holders in their unlimited one-on-one private mentoring sessions. Now, for those of you that have never seen the alerts, let me just show you what they look like. So if you're on the trial, of course, you have access to the trial channel, and so you have access to the alerts live in real time as they're posted. In the discussion group, I forward messages over from the members only discussion group, off and on throughout the day. But if you choose to become a member, then of course you'll have access to that members only discussion group. Last week, which was week 228, we finished the week with, hang on, no, I'm looking in the wrong place. We ended up with, hang on, I'll find it. I'll find it. It's right here. You'll never get the right answer by asking the wrong question, or find the right thing looking in the wrong place. I've got to go a little bit further. Well, Valerie, I know you posted a final recap somewhere over the weekend. Maybe you posted it in the alert trial discussion group. Just scroll up through today's stuff and see if I can find it. Finally, I found it. Okay, last week, week 228. Over the course of the week, we issued a total of 98 alerts. 17 never triggered, so we had 81 actionable alerts, of which 9 or 11% would have been stopped out based on that maximum risk profile that I just explained. Now, the Logic 247 alerts are based on current price action, but that doesn't mean you have to be sitting at your computer at that very moment in time when the alert goes out, because I build time into the alerts so that you have a chance to study the alert and study your chart, because the alerts are based on windows of opportunity from the 30-minute chart. So I want you to have time to get the alert, be able to study your 30-minute chart, understand why the entry is where it is. The initial target again is to help you get your goal for the day. And then the second and third and fourth targets, you'll start to see why those are potential obstacles to the trade. Now, some people just trade the alerts, make money, and neglect doing the work to actually learn how to find these opportunities themselves. Well, someday they'll regret that, because our goal for you, and hopefully your goal for you, is to become self-sufficient, so that you will soon reach a point where you don't need anybody to tell you when to get in or when to get out, because you'll have access as a lifetime member to the indicators for live, to the weekly trading zones for live, to the logic alerts, the concierge trade alerts. All the heavy lifting is done for you, but you still want to learn how to look at that 30-minute chart, see the window of opportunity, and then use a smaller time frame like the 7-tick range chart that you see Michael use in the live training room to actually time and execute those trades. And with market structure, the chart will clearly show you where to place your stop loss. You can risk 10 ticks like in the room, or I will teach you market structure so that the chart is actually telling you exactly where you need to place your stop based on the potential profit in any given alert. So last night off the open, we had a short on the ES. S is sell, T is initial target, PS is potential support. Think of that as target number 2, target number 3, and then the final trade 2 target. Okay. This short on the down never triggered. The Dow's really been quiet and sideways today. It's coiling up for a big move, so get ready. On the Russell, which was alert number 12,892, we wanted to sell 1765. Initial target, that gets your goal for the day. And then obstacles to the trade, 1761, 1757. The time the recap was done, price was at 1757.3. Then we had a short on the NQ, sell 11,300. Now on the NQ, because of its volatility, the initial target of 10 points at $20 a point is $200 per contract traded. And by the time the recap was done, price had dropped to 11,212. So it was right in between these two obstacles here. And then we're still waiting on this crude short, because we've had an up day in crude. We had a long on gold. We had a long on silver, B is buy. Initial target, final trade 2 target. Now on Sunday night, we're using the previous week's weekly trading zones. When we go to my charts here in a little bit, you'll see zones on the chart. But because all the alerts that go out on Sunday night are based on the previous week's zones, that's what you'll see on my charts today. Tomorrow on this broadcast, you'll see this week's zones. The zones are published Monday morning at 6:15 a.m. Eastern for our members. We've published the zones since December 14th of 2009. Once you understand how price behaves around the zones, and only 3 things can happen at a weekly trading zone, they will become one of the most important tools in your trading toolbox. And you never have to worry about spending your Sunday night figuring them out, trying to determine what it's going to be, because they're provided for you. we're what you call a full service educational firm. We do the heavy lifting. You just got to learn the strategy and how to read the indicators. This was a short on the euro. This was a short on bonds, which made it to its final target, 30.09. This was a long hedge on the ES, because the ES was in a position where it could move higher, it could move lower. Turns out, did both. Buy 38.91, initial target 93, potential resistance at 95, potential resistance at 39.11. Time of the recap, we were at 38.98.75, right between those two targets. But keep in mind, at this point, you've already got your goal for the day. Then we had a hedge on the Dow, long. Thumbs up means it did the deal. And then we had a hedge on the NQ to be long, and that triggered. And then this morning, we had a short on the ES. And at the time of the recap, it had dropped to 38.62. From 72 to 62, that's 10 points at $50 a point, $500 per contract traded. I don't think we're done dropping, but we'll talk about that more when we go to the big picture charts. Here's a Dow. Again, the Dow's quiet and sideways. You'll see it when we go to the charts. Here's a long on crude oil, and it ran all the way to the final trade 2 target. When crude moves $1, that's worth $1,000 per contract traded. So from 75.75 to 75.95, that's $200 per contract traded. Now we'll see what kind of moves crude has made. When you see the red X, that means that one got stopped down. This was a short on silver. This was a short on the euro. And this is a short on bonds. That's one of the ones we're still waiting on. Now, along with the Logic 247 alerts, we also have our original alert service, the concierge trade alerts, or as we call them, the CTAs. Now, they're different than the Logic alerts in 2 major ways. One, they're based on historic price action, whereas the Logic alerts, as I said, were based on current price action. When historic price action aligns with current price action, that's where you'll find some of your best high probability, low risk trade opportunities. These do not come out around the clock. They come out shortly after the Globex Open. Globex opens Sunday through Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern, and so this report was published at 6:10 p.m. Eastern, 10 minutes after the open. Now what do you do with these numbers? Well, we'll use the ES as an example. Go to the 30-minute chart of the market or markets that you trade and make note of where price is at this point in time. It's going to typically be just about in the middle of these two numbers. Then you'll want to draw a line in the sand here and a line in the sand here, because from this point in the middle, if price gets above the BBC and starts trending up towards 38.99, that's bullish, and so our strategy will look for opportunities to be short the market. On the other hand, If price gets below the BBC and starts trending down towards the CTA number, our strategy is going to look for opportunities to be short the market. In either case, that's where you use Logic 247 and everything you learn in the live training room every trading day to yourself find opportunities to be long or short the market. You should look at these numbers first as targets. I've had this verbiage here for so long, I keep meaning to change it. Maybe I'll get around to doing it tonight. But remember, price is in the middle. Okay, so if it starts moving up, that's a target. Price starts moving down, that's a target. Most days, you will have an opportunity to reach your goal for the day and then some, as price is on its way to the long CTA number or on its way to the short CTA number. And some days, some markets will have two-sided action. Now, if you're not a member and you're not on a trial yet, if you want to take a screenshot of these numbers, feel free to do so, because we're going to walk through each individual chart and see exactly what happened with the CTAs. We just covered the logic alerts. So you got your screenshot. Okay. Excellent. Now, before we go to my charts, I have 10 things you need to know today, December 19th, 2022. And coming in at number 1, Argentina, led by global soccer superstar Lionel Messi, beat defending champion France in the World Cup final yesterday. The two powerhouses ended play tied 3-3, but Argentina won 4-2 in a shootout to take its first World Championship since 1986. Messi winning his first World Cup in what is likely his final appearance in the tournament, scored Argentina's first goal in the 23rd minute on a penalty kick, making him the only man to score in all 4 World Cup knockout rounds. With Argentina up 2-0 late in the second half, France's superstar Kylian Mbappe scored twice to force extra time. Messi scored again to give Argentina the lead, but Mbappe scored another goal to tie the game and force the shootout. Number 2, Russian President Vladimir Putin travels to Belarus today for his first visit in 3 years to the country. Belarus is Russia's strongest ally in its invasion of Ukraine. Putin's trip comes after recent joint military exercises by Russia and Belarus. Belarus's leader has indicated he doesn't intend to send Belarusian troops into Ukraine, but Western military analysts say his signs of support for Putin could force Ukraine to beef up its defenses near Belarus as Russian forces try to counter recent gains by Ukrainian troops elsewhere in the country. The risks are really high, according to the director of the Minsk Dialogue Council on International Relations, a think tank based in the Belarusian capital. This is becoming one of the most interesting war stories ever told. And we don't take it lightly. Many lives have been lost, especially the conscripts and civilians. It's truly a heartbreaking situation. But Ukraine, with the help of its allies, primarily the U.S. and your tax dollars, has really stood up to the bully. And what we're seeing unfold is not anything that I think anyone thought would happen. That article, courtesy of the Wall Street Journal. Next, from the Associated Press, the House committee investigating the January 6, 2021 Capitol attack is holding its final public presentation today. The panel is expected to focus its closing argument on what it has learned about former President Donald Trump's effort to overturn his 2020 election loss to President Biden, and how Trump's call for his supporters to fight Congress's certification of the election influenced rioters. The committee has called the effort to reverse the result an attempted coup. Somebody didn't get elected a few years ago and moaned and groaned for 4 years about how wrong it all was, but I don't think that was ever called an attempted coup. The committee expects to refer some cases to the Justice Department for possible prosecution. The committee's chair, Representative Benny Thompson, Democrat from Mississippi, has said the referrals could include alleged criminal and ethics violations, legal misconduct, and campaign finance violations. We're 2 years into the new presidency, and you rarely hear anything said about the new president. Right? Who still dominates the airwaves? That's gotta speak volumes to somebody. From Reuters, Russia attacked cities across Ukraine with kamikaze drones early Monday. Some of the drones targeted key infrastructure facilities in and around Kiev in Russia's third air attack on the Ukrainian capital in less than a week. The Ukrainian Air Force said it shot down 30 of 35 incoming drones, cheap, disposable, unmanned aircraft designed to crash into their targets and explode on impact. Russia has been conducting drone and missile strikes against Ukraine's power grid since October. Kiev's mayor said nobody was killed or wounded in the most recent attack. The governor of the region surrounded Kiev said 2 people were injured. Other officials said the drones damaged the electricity network, and engineers were rushing to stabilize energy and heat supplies. Friends, now I know we have a global audience and traders around the world, but we live here in the U.S. When you get in your car to go to the grocery store, do you ever worry that you're going to get hit by an unmanned drone or a missile strike? No, you typically don't. Although we've had mass shootings in all kinds of places, from parades to Walmart to schools. So, not to say that we're not without danger here in the U.S., but, you know, having to put on a hard hat every time you walk out your front door. Thank God we're not living in that world, at least not yet. Number 5 from CNN and The Hill. Twitter announced Sunday that it would bar users from directly posting links to rival social media websites, calling that free promotion. I agree. If I build a pier to fish off of, if you want to fish on my pier, then you need to pay. Or go build your own pier. Okay? You don't fish off another man's pier. It's just wrong. Twitter said it would eliminate accounts created to promote rival sites, including Facebook, Instagram, Truth Social, Mastodon, Tribal, Post, and Nostra, but later deleted the blog posts and tweets announcing the policy. The ban covered tweets urging people to follow an account on one of these sites or tweeting a direct link to one of these sites' accounts. Some Twitter users who have left the platform since Elon Musk bought it in October, and others who Musk has banned or fired, have urged people to follow them on alternative platforms such as Mastodon. Number 6, from New Scientist and the Washington Post. Delegates from almost 200 countries early Monday reached a landmark agreement to protect nearly a third of the world's land and oceans by the end of the decade to help threatened wild plants and animals survive. The deal came at the end of the United Nations COP15 Biodiversity Summit in Montreal, Canada. The framework gives countries 8 years to hit targets for protecting life, such as slashing subsidies for unsustainable agriculture and fishing practices that harm nature. The deal aims to halt and reverse biodiversity loss by 2030 to address an ongoing extinction crisis. 1 million species are at risk of disappearing forever in a mass extinction scenario scientists compare to the devastation from the asteroid that wiped out dinosaurs. But yet not a word was said about the meteor coming across the southern border called fentanyl. Yeah, I know you guys think I harp on this every day, and I do. More Americans have died of fentanyl overdose this year than all American soldiers who gave their life in Vietnam. Now, we know the fallout of Vietnam. How many homeless veterans do we have around America? Which is an atrocity, and we should fix that. But what happens when we either go extinct from fentanyl overdose, or the hole in the southern border gets plugged, making it more difficult to smuggle the drugs into the country, and all of a sudden you've got a nation in withdrawals? And I'm just going to be honest, there's sitting judges and lawyers and many other government elected officials who are stone cold addicted to Oxycontin. And fentanyl is designed and even stamped to mimic the oxycodone and Oxycontin pills that your physician might prescribe. Well, when that supply gets cut off, when the DEA really clamps down on the doctors, as it already has, okay, they're not writing these scripts as freely as they once did. The whole state of Florida was called a pill mill at one point. They've clamped down there. But you got judges sitting on the bench, rendering decisions, and because they don't feel the arthritic pain anymore. They just feel good, man. They feel happy. And the doctor told them it was safe and not addictive. So they're sending people off to prison for all kinds of crimes. What happens when their doctor stops prescribing that narcotic for them, the one that they were told was non-addictive? Talk to one of them about 48 hours after their last pill. They would steal from their own mother to get rid of the pain and the agony. I've worked with a lot of addicts in recovery. Okay? This is bad. This is worse than heroin. It is worse than meth. It is worse than cocaine. And the drug smugglers are so keenly aware of the addictive nature of fentanyl that they now lace the meth and the cocaine and all the other drugs with the fentanyl to keep you coming back for more. Maybe we should talk about that at the next Biodiversity Summit. Number 7, New York Times. The trial of 5 Proud Boys charged in the January 6, 2021 Capitol attack begins today with the start of jury selection. A leader of the far-right group sent a message to fellow Proud Boys as the mob of former President Donald Trump supporters was gathering outside the Capitol saying, "I want to see thousands of normies burn that city to ash today." Who was the comedian on the left that posted the tweet with the where she was holding the severed head of Donald Trump? Oh, don't get me started on this. The Proud Boys are charged with seditious conspiracy over the attack. Their trial in U.S. District Court in Washington, D.C. is kicking off less than a month after the leader of another far-right group, the Oath Keepers militia, and a top lieutenant were convicted of seditious conspiracy in a separate case. Number 8, from the Associated Press and the Catholic News Agency. For those of you who saw 1923 last night, you probably don't look at that religion quite the same. I don't know. I wasn't raised in that religion, so I can't say. But it looked pretty horrifying. Yeah, Michael R., you're right. It was Kathy Gifford. Thanks for saying it so I didn't have to. All right, the Vatican has defrocked prominent anti-abortion and political activist priest Frank Pavone for blasphemous communications on social media and failure to obey his bishop's orders to stop his partisan activism for former President Donald Trump, who hasn't been the president now for 2 years. Pavone has no possibility of appeal, according to a letter to U.S. bishops from the Vatican ambassador to the U.S. The Associated Press obtained and published all of this yesterday. Pavone has been in conflict with his superiors in Texas for more than a decade. In 2016, he put an aborted fetus on an altar and posted video of it on social media. Pavone said the punishment stemmed partly from a 2020 tweet in which he criticized supporters of this GD loser, Biden. Not going to say the word, but pretty sure you can figure it out. Number 9, courtesy of the Washington Post. Twitter CEO Elon Musk tweeted Sunday that he would ask users in a poll whether he should continue as head of the social media platform, which he bought in October in a $44 billion deal. Now this is Musk's tweet, should I step down as head of Twitter? I will abide by the results of this poll. With more than 6.1 million votes and 9 hours left of the poll, yes was winning with 57.6%. In the comments of his tweet, many users encouraged one another to vote yes or no. Some users speculated that Twitter investors from Saudi Arabia and Qatar told Musk to step down. Yeah, I don't think he takes influence, outside influence like that. That's just my thought. And I got news for you. If I had just spent $44 billion of my own money to buy something, nobody's going to tell me to step down. I'll step down if I want to. I got the right to. I own it. So, number 10, from the Associated Press and Variety. Avatar, The Way of Water, led the domestic box office with $134 million in North American ticket sales over its debut weekend, according to studio estimates released Sunday. It also brought in $300 million internationally. The film by director James Cameron tied The Batman for the fourth biggest debut of 2022. Only Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, which brought in $187 million in May, and Black Panther Wakanda Forever, $181 million in November, and Thor Love and Thunder, $144 million in July, did better this year. Avatar's opening weekend, the third largest global debut during the coronavirus pandemic, gave a boost to movie theaters, but analysts had expected it to do even better, with some predicting a domestic view of $150 million or more. I'm kind of surprised that people are still going to the movie theater. I mean, I know there's the experience, you know, the $9 popcorn and the $7 soda pop, and you're in this big room with this really big screen. You can get some really big screens at Walmart right now for $400 or $500. But people aren't paying for the movie, they're paying for the experience of going to the movies. And hey, if you work for your money and you pay taxes on your money, then you got the right to do whatever you want to do with your money. And that's the 10 things you need to know today, December 19th, 2022. Off to the daily chart we go. Alright, this is what we've been talking about last night in the discussion group and all morning in the live training room. Okay, Friday we put in a low on the ES, the bellwether, so the other indices will ultimately follow the bellwether. The low put in Friday was 38.55 and a quarter. Today we made it to 38.48.75. And the next zone we have for this week below is 36/37. Now, once that's taken out, there's this huge air pocket down to the 24% reverse fib, then the 50% fib extension, and then the low of November 3rd, and then the 62% fib extension, and then the low of the entire downtrend that began March 29th, and the low came in on October 13th. There have been numerous occasions where the market has tried to break out of this downtrend since March 29th and has failed spectacularly each and every time. So a break of today's low, okay, we'll have some weekly trading zones in the mix, as I just said, but from a big picture standpoint, 37.85 is the number to keep your eye on. Now, everything I say about this chart is true for every market. The Dow, the Russell, the NQ, crude, gold, silver, the euro, Amazon stock, Walmart stock, Bitcoin, British pound, you name it. Everything we do, everything we teach is fluid across all markets and all time frames. Okay? So, what I'm about to say, don't think that just applies to the S&P 500 E-mini. Applies to all markets, all time frames. The green line is called the BBC. It just stands for Bull Bear Cross. When price crosses above it, we're bullish. We anticipate higher prices. But when price crosses below it, we become bearish and we anticipate lower prices. The colorful indicator you see, the blue and red, that's called the CFMA1. But you'll hear me refer to it as blue and climbing or red and falling. Hopefully that's kind of self-explanatory. When price is above the BBC and you've got blue and climbing, that is a complement to the projection for higher prices. And when you've got price below the BBC and you have red and falling, then that complements the idea that you're going to see lower prices. And so right now, big picture, resistance is at the high of today's session, and then the step line, and then the 38% reverse fib, red and falling, and the BBC. So this market, in order to turn itself around, is going to have to do a whole lot of work. And often the market will take the path of least resistance. Remember, it takes financial commitment for price to rise. All it takes for price to fall is for the institutional buyers who move price to simply just step back for a bit. Doesn't mean they're done buying forever. It just means that they've spent a lot of money to try to move price higher. They've not succeeded. And so no position is a very valid position. Now again, it's the institutions, the hedge funds, the Goldman Sachs of the world who move price. Retail traders, I'm sorry. We're just a fly on a horse's rump. Okay? Now, the institutional traders watch daily, weekly, and monthly charts the way you and I watch 30-minute charts, 5-minute charts, tick charts, and range charts. Why? Size matters. The institutions' accounts are typically denominated in hundreds of millions and billions of dollars, whereas our accounts are typically denominated in thousands or tens of thousands of dollars. This means they can withstand a much greater drawdown than you and I can. They can also stay with a profitable position longer than you or I might be comfortable with. So no matter what market you trade, or stock, or crypto, or forex pair, you would do yourself well to spend the first 2 minutes of every trading session looking at the daily chart. See which way the institutional wind is blowing. Okay? Now, we're going to go to the 30-minute charts, which all the alerts are based on. Logic alerts, concierge trade alerts. That's my roadmap. That's where I see windows of opportunity. Thus, the alerts are born from those 30-minute charts, and then you receive the alerts, and then you're able to trade the alerts by first viewing the 30-minute chart so you understand the context of the trade, and then using your smaller time frame, whether it's a 7-tick range or a 5-minute, to actually enter the trade and place your protective stop. Okay? So, pretty simple even to a newcomer. Red is down, green is up. A lot of pressure on the markets here. But that low from Friday, even though we took it out by just a smidge, the market hasn't collapsed just yet. But we still have several hours left in the trading day, and we have the rest of the week. It would take a lot of effort and a lot of money and a lot of confidence for the institutions to start buying against this backdrop. However, intraday and intranight on our 30-minute chart and smaller time frames, we can navigate in either direction based on what the 30-minute chart dictates. So on the ES, these are all going to be 30-minute charts. The vertical line that you see that separates today, Monday, which began last night at 6 p.m. Eastern, from Friday, from Thursday, okay? So this is all since the market opened last night at 6 p.m. Eastern. This was the opening candle. Now, the CTAs came out at 6:10 p.m. Eastern, 10 minutes after this candle started to form. So your target on the upside was 38.99. Okay, so you go to your smaller time frame, and so we get this initial 30-minute move up, then we get a retracement, and then we start printing a green candle. Opened at 38.80 half and put in a high at 38.85. That's your goal for the day for a couple of days in that one 30-minute candle, based upon your understanding that you're only looking for long trades when price is above the 30-minute BBC and you have blue and climbing present. Here's another candle that would have done it. Then price pulled back to the BBC. You're going to learn the pullback holds more often than it doesn't. No matter which direction it pulls from. When it pulls from below, we expect resistance. 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 And when it pulls from above, we expect support. Support. Until blue and climbing turns to red and falling. Now we go from looking to trade long to trading short. So once this candle closed below the BBC and blue and climbing turned to red and falling, well, it'd be pretty simple to just sell the open of this candle at 38.83 half, because it dropped to 38.78 3/4. It's a couple days daily goal right there. And then here's this beauty. Okay, you know your trade to target is down here at 38.66. This candle opened at 63 half. No, how about 38.80? That's 14 points to the target. Now you see how we hit the target here once, twice, 3 times, but we never traded through it. And that's okay, because you had plenty of opportunity to get your goal for the day. And then the tables turned around 8 a.m. this morning. This was the 8 to 8:30 a.m. Eastern candle that got us below the BBC, and we already had red and falling entering the picture. And you can wait for price to get to the CTA number if you want. It's your trading business. You can do whatever you want, okay? But I highly encourage you to see this first as a target, and then once pierced, it becomes an entry. And that's important. Why? Because once a CTA number gets triggered like this one, there's a greater probability of it triggering multiple times than not triggering multiple times. And so from 38.66 we dropped to 63.5, just 2.5 points. Then price got back above it, dropped again, this time to 38.62. That's 4 points at $50 a point, $200 per contract traded. And then we pulled back up to red and falling, and the BBC where we found resistance, and down we come again. And this time we put in a low at 48.75. For the simplicity of math, let's just be conservative and call it 38.50. That's 16 points at $50 a point. Now that's from this line to here. Not the entire move. There's a whole lot more available if you include the trip down. I'm talking about breaching 38.66 for the 1, 2, 3rd time on that third breach. Guess it's about 18 points, 17, 18 points total, $50 a point. But remember, you only need 2 points a day. And you increase your contracts over time, following the 24/20 blueprint, only adding one at a time when it's time, and only adding with profit you earned in the market. That's a very good recipe for not blowing up another account. Okay? Now, this black line, I haven't talked about it. It's called the step line, because originally it looked like a set of stairs, and I decided one day to just straighten mine out. And so, but it's still the step line. But look here what's happening on this strong move down. You've got price, you've got the step line, you've got red and falling, and then way over here you got the BBC. Okay? The more separation, the stronger the move. But what have we here? The step line is about to cross red and falling. Now, in a falling market, what happens when the step line crosses from the left side of red and falling to the right side of red and falling? You guessed it. It's a heads up that price is attempting a pullback to the BBC. Here it is again. Nice move down. And all of a sudden the step line goes flat and sideways, crosses red and falling, and then what does price do? It pulls right back to the BBC, which the pullback holds. It holds more often than it doesn't. Now you got this stellar opportunity on the downside. Now I'm saying a lot about this ES chart. I'm going to breeze through the other markets. Well, I say I'm going to breeze through them because a chart to me is like a work of art. Sometimes I get a little verbose because I really want you to understand the incredible geometry, the symmetry that's built into the markets. It's always been there. You've just never had anyone point it out to you and show you how to use it to put on and take off trades. Why is that? Because most people have 1,000 different things to sell you. And once they've sold you everything they've got, they'll cook up something new to sell you until you quit buying, and then they'll sell your name and email address and phone number to some other company so that they can milk you. We got one thing, the CFRN passport, which is lifetime access to everything we've ever done, everything we do, and anything we do in the future. And with us, lifetime actually means lifetime. There's no recurring fees, there's no upsells, there's no new shiny objects to buy, no nonsense. Don't you hate it when people insult your intelligence that way? Especially when you're in the checkout process. You've agreed to buy some product that, you got an email and, wow, that looks really clever. I think I want to own that for, the low price of $29 or $49 or whatever it is. So you put it in your shopping cart and you're ready to check out, and then you get another pop-up. we got a fish on the hook. Let's see how much they'll swallow. So you go along with the second pop-up because that gives you more access to whatever. And then you know, okay, I'm really ready to check out now. Boom, here's another pop-up. The deal gets even sweeter for more money. Have you ever just got mad and abandoned your shopping cart because you knew that they were just milking you for every dime they could get out of you? It's a horrible, horrible business practice. Now, some would say it's clever and it's state of the art and it's all the rage. Yeah, somebody should be raging about it. But anyway, well, I'm just letting you know, we don't do that. If you become a lifetime member, that's it. End of story. You have lifetime access to every one of our resources for life. Period. So, no need to beat a dead horse. And that other horse, that upsell horse, it's on its last legs. Today's consumer is far more intelligent than the internet consumers of the early 2000s, late 90s. Now, once that crossover starts, could price still continue to go lower? It certainly can. You have to embrace all possibilities. I mentioned earlier that there's over 12,900 individual handcrafted alerts in the Logic 247 channel. Every one of them is a trend trade as defined by the 30-minute chart in the BBC. In other words, if price is above the BBC on the 30-minute chart, there's only going to be long alerts. If price is below the BBC on the 30-minute chart, there's only going to be short alerts. Pretty simple. We've worked really hard for a lot of years to make things as simple as what you're seeing today. And the good news is once you learn what we do and how we do it, you don't have to learn anything else. Sometimes newcomers to the markets are so overwhelmed. There's this huge universe of stuff that you're supposed to own, indicators, oscillators, algorithms, and all this stuff you got to know and learn and understand. And man, that's all designed to just drain your wallet. We do the same thing every day. Up market, down market, sideways market, slow market, fast market, lots of volume, hardly any volume, doesn't matter. Price flows the same across every market and every time frame. From support to resistance, back to support, back to resistance, over and over, again and again. It's a never-ending cycle. It's been in place since the inception of the markets, and it will stay in place until the markets cease to exist. Because that's how markets work. So if you're sick and tired of being sick and tired of spending your money on stuff that just didn't pan out, then you're going to have to do something different. As long as you go down the same road, you'll end up in the same place. Same recipe bakes the same cake. Not only do you have access to all the things that I've mentioned, but you have access to unlimited one-on-one mentoring on top of the live classes every day, which are interactive in themselves. In other words, you're encouraged to ask as many questions as you can. The more questions you ask, the faster you ask them, the sooner you'll learn the methodology and the strategy. And then it never changes. So you go from this huge universe of stuff, oh my gosh, how will I ever learn all this stuff? All you need to know is how to take 2 points out of the market consistently. Whether it's 2 points in the S&P or 10 ticks in crude or 10 ticks in gold. You don't need to know all that other stuff. You don't need all those indicators and oscillators and that. I mean, it just clouds your mind, crowds your screen. If that's the path you're on, reevaluate. And because we know a lot of people are jaded because of all the garbage they've had to wade through to even find our doorstep, that's why we give you 5 consecutive trading days where we treat you like a lifetime member. We invest our time and our money in you before you make a well-informed decision whether or not you want to invest your money in something that truly is different. Unlimited one-on-one mentoring, powerful. Around-the-clock support via Telegram. Just got to obey the rules of the road. Something to think about. All right, let's get these other markets done. The Dow, which has been pretty quiet the entire session, dropping. Finally, okay. Now, could you have gotten your goal on the long side as price tried to make it up to the target? Yep. Several times. Then once price got below, blue and climbing turned to red and falling. Was there tons of opportunity to get your goal for the day on the way down? Now we've actually pierced it. Down to 32,978. It's like 12 points. However, now that it's pierced, there's a greater probability that it's going to go and trigger again and again and maybe even again. Some days we'll see these numbers, these important prices, important areas trigger multiple times a day, as many as 10 on some days. Russell, okay. Opening 30-minute candle last night. 10 minutes into this candle, these numbers were published for our members and everyone on the trial. You mean I could have just entered at 1773 and took profit at 75 and been done for the day? And I could be fishing right now? Yeah, that's kind of what I mean. Or you could have got your goal for the day on this candle or this candle. You got red and falling, you should probably wait. Okay, once you get above red and falling, which turns red and falling into blue and climbing, and you got this beautiful piece of work. Opened at 78, ran to 83. It's 5 points at $50 a point. And then it triggered 1783 and ran up to 84 and a half, 1.5 points. Then it pulled back, ran to the target again, pulled back, ran to the target again. And this time when it pulled back, the BBC held. Price got pinched between support at the BBC and resistance at red and falling. Now, while the pullback holds more often than it doesn't, over and over again and again, we know that eventually price will trade through the BBC. That's what keeps the markets fluid and tradable. Okay? Look at this guy. Even if you were conservative and waited to get past this bullish cross, which I'm not even going to go into that today, from 67, from 68 to 66, 2 points for the day. Then you hit this, and from 66 you drop 2. 57. So what do we got? 9 points. $50 a point, $450 per contract traded. Then price gets back above the number, as it does. And now we've dropped all the way to 1750. 1750 to 66. That would be, we'll call it 15 points at $50 a point per contract traded. Now the Russell pays 50 a point just like the ES, so you only need 2 points a day. Now again, these are last week's weekly trading zones because the alerts that went out last night were based on last week's zones. On tomorrow's broadcast, all the charts will have this week's zones, which our members received this morning at 6:15 a.m. Eastern, and we published the zones since December 14th of 2009. Nice window of opportunity from right here, 1748. We got a zone down at this week at 17. Actually, this was a zone last week. Sometimes that'll happen. A zone will carry over from one week to the next. So what a beautiful window of opportunity here. 1749 down to 1741. 8 points, $50 a point, $400 per contract traded. The NQ. Okay, here's the opening candle. We got blue and climbing. We get above the BBC. This candle opened at 11,352. I ran up to 371. Basically 20 points. Just shy of 20 points. Or $400 per contract traded. In one candle. Then we pull back to the BBC, the pullback holds, and then we get above the BBC, we get above red and falling, which becomes blue and climbing, and we run right to the target at 11,408. And we pull back and we do it again, and then we pull back. This time we get below the BBC, just like the other indices. The indices mirror themselves. Keep in mind the S&P is the bellwether. Whatever it does, the other markets may fight it for a bit, but eventually they're going to follow suit. That's why it's called the bellwether. Okay. So this candle here, you got everything telling you should be trading short. Prices below the BBC, you got red and falling. This candle opened at 11,354. So you had a 50-point drop to the CTA. Okay. The CTA number is 305. This candle opened at 54. 50 points at $20 a point is $1,000 per contract traded. And one 30-minute candle. But did it stop there? No. It continued down to 11,254. So that's another $1,000 per contract traded. Then we got back above the trigger, see that little wick? And then down we go again. And from 305 we drop to 180. Let's just call it $2 grand. It's over $2 grand, but $2 grand is a nice round number. Now what's about to happen? Got a red candle, got red and falling. We did have the step line cross, but price may be thinking different. So a break of this low gives you a lot of opportunity on the way down to the next weekly zone. All right, we're done with the indices. Here's crude oil. We have roll to the G contract. Here's where the market opened. 10 minutes after the open, these numbers came out. 75.30, there's your target. And from 74.80 to 75.30, it's $500 per contract traded. And then this one is worth 50 bucks. Then it got back below the number and ran up to 75.94. That's $640 per contract traded. Then price got below the BBC, got red and falling. What does price do? Runs right to the target, 74 bucks. This candle opened at 74.81. That's a $800 30-minute candle per contract traded. Then price got back above the BBC and ran up to 75.43. It's $130 per contract traded. And then we had another wee move. Again, get your goal on the way to the target. Okay? Get your goal on the way to the target. See, this candle opened here, ran up to 75.38, but by the time the 30-minute candle closed, it was way back down here. And then we made another run up to 75.64. It's $340 per contract traded. Then price dropped back below the number and took off again. This time it ran to 76.17. It's $870 per contract traded. Then price pulled all the way back to the zone where it found support, and it triggered again. This time it ran up to 76.63. Now, from 75.30 to 76.30, that's $1,000 per contract traded. 1, 2, 3, 4 candles. But we went all the way to 76.64. So that's $1,300. $1,340 per contract traded. Gold. This was the opening candle. We dropped, found support at the zone, and then ran to the target, ran to the target, ran to the target. Okay, pierced it a little bit here. 40 bucks. Pierced it here. 60 bucks. And then pierced it here. 200 bucks. We pull back to the BBC in the zone, find support. Off we go again. Up to 1808.60. That's $360 per contract traded. And then we get below the BBC. The pullback holds. Down we go. Now, real conservative. If you waited to 17.98, you want to get below the low of this candle, right? For these candles over here. A couple $100 before you get to the number. Once you got to the number, traded down to 17.93.20. $280 per contract traded. pull back, and prices trying to pull back. See the step lines crossed. Price is trying to pull back to the BBC. Price always reverts to the mean. In our case, the mean is green. We call it the BBC. And so right here we've got resistance times 2. Last week's zone and the BBC. And once price gets there, kind of like it did here, it should give us another leg to the downside. Silver. Price off the open last night, pulled back to the BBC, the pullback held, and took us from 33 up to 47, 14 pennies, $700 per contract traded. Silver, 2 pennies is $100. A $1 move in silver is worth $5 grand. A $1 move in crude is worth $1 grand. $1 move in gold, $100. So from 23.47 we run up to 54, $400 per contract traded. And we pull back to the zone, find support, off we go again. From 47 to 57, that's 10 pennies, $500 per contract traded. And we get below the BBC. Once red and falling enters the picture, we're not interested in any long trades. Now we got to start thinking about short trades. Price comes right down to the zone, finds support, bounces up to red and falling, finds resistance. Once the market finds support, it's going to turn around and go look for resistance. When it finds resistance, it's going to turn around and go look for support. Over and over, again and again, a never-ending cycle. So you had lots of room. Get your goal for the day on the way down. And then from 23.08 down to 23.03, that's a nickel, $250 per contract traded. Now we've pulled back up to the zone, and because the step line is directly above price, that's potential resistance. So we may get another push to the downside, which makes this a window of opportunity right here. And last but not least, the euro. Here's where the market opened on this candle. 10 minutes after the open, these numbers were published for all of our members and those on the trial. That's the euro. Okay. Price opened, came down to the target, got above the BBC, gave you plenty of room to get your goal for the day on the way up to the target. Then it exceeded the target and made it to the final trade to target, the weekly zone. Then price comes back down, gets below the BBC, blue and climbing, turns to red and falling. Where does it send us? Down to the zone, down to the target, and then we pierce the target. And then we get above the BBC, and we trigger the long side and hit the final trade to target 1, 2, 3 times in a row. What more could you ask for? I don't know. Okay. This is really important. We've now solidly taken out Friday's low, that thing we were talking about last night and all morning in the training room. Okay. The next important number from the big picture, that's the picture the institutions are looking at, 37.85. Then below that you got the 50% fib extension, 37.60. Then the 62. You got this little low right here, put in on November 3rd at 37.35. And then this low is just above that 62% fib extension, 36.70, 36.60. And then boom, we're at the October 13th low, which is the low of the entire downtrend that began March 29th. To become a member of the CFRN family, to become a lifetime member with no recurring fees, no upsells, no nonsense, just go here, EminiFuturesTrading.com. People in this audience today have lost more money today in a down market where all they did was go short than what it costs to become a lifetime member. 9 out of 10 new traders will fail. Why? Well, number one, because they don't have a teacher. Well, I got books. I've watched a million YouTube videos. Nothing wrong with that. But it's no replacement for a living, breathing teacher. Putting on, taking off trades, live in real time, explaining every move they make, every trade they take, and answering your questions while you trade along in sim till you qualify to go live. Lifetime access to the room. A living, breathing teacher every trading day. You also have unlimited one-on-one private mentoring. Just have to book the session. The methodology and strategy you learn, the indicators you own for life, are fluid across all markets, all stocks, all crypto, all forex pairs, and all time frames, from 1 minute to monthly. You never have to tweak anything. You never have to adjust a setting on anything. You never have to change a rule to the strategy. As you seamlessly go from S&P futures to Amazon stock to Bitcoin to the British pound. Kind of amazing. You also get the Logic 247 alerts around the clock. You get the CTA report every night as it's published. And of course, you're always going to get an invitation to the Thursday night members only workshop. And you'll never spend another dime. So, beat feet, EminiFuturesTrading.com. If you have questions, call Valerie at 949-42-EMINI or send an email to support@cfrn.net. Now, this coming Sunday's Christmas, and so, lots of companies have holiday specials, and I don't get involved in the whole sales end of the thing, but it might behoove you to call Valerie and see if Santa left anything in your stocking in the way of a discount or bonus or whatever. 949-42-EMINI or simply email support@cfrn.net. And if you're one of our really old members, back from the beginning, and you never upgraded to the Passport, which gives you lifetime access to everything with no recurring fees of any kind, it would be a really good time for you to call Valerie and see just exactly what it would cost for you to never have another recurring fee. Just saying. All right, let's wrap this thing up with our good word for the day. Now, on Friday, we talked about you will get through this. Whatever this is for you, and it's different for everybody, but whatever it is, it'll pass. Today, our topic is learn to unplug and unwind, which is hard to do in the digital age, man. We're just bombarded with stuff from the moment our eyes open till we close them at night. Mark 6:31. Come away by yourselves to a secluded place and rest a little while. Don't you find it interesting that the most high-tech generation in history is also the most medicated generation? The Bible predicted this in Daniel 12:4. God was talking to Daniel, and he said that in the last days many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall increase. Imagine life pre-Google. If you wanted to learn something or study something, you had to go, I don't know, to your local community college or go to the library. You know, remember the Dewey Decimal System in the cart catalog? Now, you can ask the most bizarre question in the world that no one would ever think of, but Google's already thought about it and will display multiple answers to whatever the question is. From how many cups is in a gallon to how many gallons of gas does a Kia Soul hold? I mean, and everything in between. So that particular scripture, in the last days, many shall run to and fro. Man, life's pretty hectic. You know, our forefathers, our grandfathers, our great-great-grandfathers, they had a pretty slow, easygoing, laid-back kind of life. But today, everything's so hectic. And knowledge shall increase. I mean, when you think about it, and am I pro-Google or anti-Google? Okay, Google's slogan is do no evil, but yet we've seen them do incredible evil, and they've been caught red-handed. But am I still thankful that I can fix my own washing machine by Googling my problem and it taking me to a YouTube video where it shows me how to isolate the problem and then walks me through how I can order the part from Amazon, and because I'm near a distribution center, it arrives the next day, and I fix my own washing machine. No one was more astounded than I, because I'm not the fix-it guy. I'm not Dwayne the Toolman Reeves, no. My wife's our handyman. But the power at our fingertips, it's incredible. And it can be used for good or evil. So, moving on. Research has shown that we have trained our brains to constantly flit around the universe of messages and information, seeking brief hits of excitement. Grazing ceaselessly, we never dig too deeply before moving on to the next distraction. This increases our stress levels in ways we are only starting to understand. When was the last time you enjoyed some uninterrupted downtime without feeling guilty and unproductive? Do you even take time to reflect and recharge? If you don't, you're going to burn out. Avoiding burnout requires a few things. Number one, recognizing the signs, admitting, hey, I got a problem. If you can't go 30 minutes without looking at your phone, you might have a problem. For some of us, it's 5 minutes. If you tweet and text people all day and yet you're still lonely, technology may be dominating your life. Number two, once you've recognized the sign, do something about it. Make yourself unavailable for short periods and see what happens. You'll be surprised when the world doesn't come to an end because you didn't respond to a message or a Facebook post or a tweet. Recognize a sign, do something about it, and then realize you have a choice. People who think they should be available 24 hours a day exaggerate their own importance or the control others have over them. And as you realize your choice, you need to start establishing boundaries. Monitor your emails and text messages. Do you really need the constant notifications? I mean, some people will break out in a cold sweat if 5 minutes goes by and their phone doesn't go ding, ding, ding. I mean, you just got your distraction taken away by some spam email that came into your inbox. That can't be good for you, can it? And once you establish your boundaries, tell people. Unless it's truly urgent, you will be answering emails at designated times throughout the day. Now, I'm not talking about your business, I'm talking about your personal life, okay? But even a business, normal businesses have normal business hours, which means if you call after 5 p.m. Eastern, you're going to get a recording, voicemail. Leave a message. When it's time for us to work again tomorrow morning at 9 a.m., we'll get back to you. Okay? But because we know how hard traders struggle, we've broken out of that mold and provide support around the clock. It's not easy, but it's necessary for you and for us as a business, because our business is seeing you succeed. And finally, set a schedule and stick with it. After a few minutes of surfing the internet, ask yourself, should I be doing this now? Jesus said, come away by yourselves to a secluded place and rest. Why? Because when you don't rest, you start to fall apart. And that's not good for anybody. And that's our good word for the day. Thanks so much for tuning in. Whoever you are, wherever you are, may God continue to richly bless you with His mercy and with His grace. And I'll see you at the bell.
Remember this, there is no greater return on investment than to see a human life changed and given hope. As always, pray hard and trade safe. Any financial information discussed on this show is simply the opinion of our host, Dwayne Reeves, his co-hosts, and guests. To learn more about trading E-mini futures or to take a 1-week free trial in our live trading room, call 1-866-928-3310. 866-928-3310. Information discussed on this radio program should not be construed as a recommendation to buy or sell any security. Always do your own due diligence and consult with a licensed securities broker or financial planner before making any investment decision.